Hello, I'm Don Smith, Executive Director of the West Virginia Press Association, and today we welcome West Virginia Secretary of State Mac Warner to talk about the state's campaign finance reporting system. Welcome, Mr. Secretary.
Hey, it's good to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Recently, your office partnered with the Press Association to host a webinar to help the state's media use the new system. And I was impressed at how thorough it is and how accessible it is, not just to the media, but to the general public.
We're quite proud of the system. It's out there on the front end of where we are across the nation with regards to campaign finance reporting. And we've just made it as easy as possible for the consumer, or for the candidates, for anybody searching to know who has donated to a campaign or how money has been spent. And so we invite everybody to the site. Go vote W.Va, and you can look and see where the money is coming from and where it's going.
And I guess, Mr. Secretary, the first thing we probably should just touch on is why it's important that they know that, because there's a lot of money comes into these elections.
Well, and that's what everybody wants to know, is who is behind the candidates, where are the candidates spending the money, and so on. And so the whole idea, previously, there were two parts to this. One was who was giving it and where it was going. The second part is how often that was getting reported to the public, and it was just on a yearly basis. And then you had the reporting right before the primary and right before the general. But by that time, the campaign's over, and people are already making their decisions. So what we've gone to, and the legislature passed this last year, it went into effect June 7th of this year, 2019. So we're operating under the new law right now, and it's a quarterly report. So 4 times a year, the candidates. It's more work on the candidates, but it's also getting that information out to the public on when they want to know it. Mm-hmm. And then you still have that report before the primary and before the general that we had before. So it's adding more transparency. The whole idea behind campaign financing is the transparency of it, getting it to the public so they can make informed decisions as they go to the polls to vote.
All right, and this system, not does it show who gets money and who gives the money, but it shows where they spend the money. So if someone is saying, boy, there are a lot of ads being ran for this candidate, you can look and see where the expenditure is and say, okay, well, that came from the candidate or it came from a PAC. Exactly. These issues are being addressed because these people are interested. Right. Correct?
That's exactly right. So some money is being spent for issues, others is on a candidate. And then is it a person that is spending that? Is it a PAC? Is it the candidate themselves? And all that now is available to people. We are all living in this digital age, and we have now made campaign financing accessible in this digital age. All it is get online and look. You can look 24 hours a day. Anybody can. You don't have to go through the Secretary of State's office. You don't have to have permission. You can go online and get the information you're looking for.
I do want to talk more about the information, but I think that's one thing, things that are important. It was, if I understand right, a bipartisan vote on this, and no matter how they feel about you or another Secretary of State or any other politician, someone can go to this system totally in private and look and see what's going on, correct?
Right, and the neat thing here is it's not just about the candidates or the campaigns. Let's say there's a wealthy person and they're giving money, and you want to say, I want to see where John Doe, who all he's giving to. And you can search by John Doe and see where he's giving money. So it goes both ways. It's showing where the candidates, who they're getting the money from and where they're spending it, where the PACs are, where they're spending their money, and then a particular person where they're spending their money, who they're donating to.
I thought it was really effective too, that you don't even have to necessarily know who you're researching. You can go to the district. You can say who's spending money in this district. So sometimes you think, well, I have no idea who to search. I mean, I know the candidate, but I don't know any of the PACs or I don't know the donors. Right. But you can look and see where that money's being spent, and the system populates that for you.
And that's what we're trying to do, is make it as many different ways as you may want to search this. We've tried to do that. So if somebody has an idea of how to search something and they can't find it, please let us know, and we'll see what we can do. I think this is perhaps one of the most transparent in the whole nation, what we've done here with the West Virginia law in just the last year. And then the office has responded to put that online in a digital format that people can research easily.
And you have gotten some recognition, haven't you, Mr. Secretary, for the development of this system? I mean,
exactly.
You are sharing it with other. I mean, this problem or this interest. I mean, it's not a problem, but this interest is a national interest in other states are trying to do the same thing. So you work on a national level, correct?
It is. There's concern over dark money, money that's coming into a campaign and people don't know where it's coming from. Or the problem was before is it was getting reported, but it was getting reported after the fact, right at the last minute, or even after the campaign was over. So, but by that time, somebody's been elected or not been elected, and it's too late. So that's why we went to the quarterly reporting requirement.
And there is a financial penalty if they're late in filing.
That was another significant thing. Before, it was always left up to the judgment of somebody in the elections office, the Secretary of State, whether to impose those penalties or not. We wrote it into the law that there's a mandatory $10 a day late fee if you don't file your reports on time. We want those candidates to report to the public online so people have access to it. So the discretion is taken out of it. You get imposed with a $10 fee, and that's paid by the candidate themselves, not by the campaign. So it's, again, an incentive to get the candidates to be responsive and to get the campaigns responsive to the new law.
Very good. And I know there are people think, well, $10 is not that much, but I think it's also the awareness that this candidate didn't file.
Right.
That this candidate is ultimately responsible for this information and his campaign being there.
And it looks bad. If you don't file online, what are you going to be doing with the state's money when you're in office? So it's a responsibility issue that I think now that the law is written and we've made everybody aware of it, we want them responding and making those campaign finances, both the donations coming in and the expenditures going out, open to the public.
I know your staff was very helpful to the media, and we'll be available going forward. But if the general public gets on there and has a problem, there is a mechanism they can ask a question, send something in, or call, correct?
Right. They can. I always make the office available to the public. Please call into the office. We have field representatives throughout the state. If you want somebody to come and actually sit down with you, you can let us know, and we will put that field representative in your office or respond. So please, we stress customer relations and customer service throughout our office, not just in elections, but in business and licensing. And please use the office. Call us if you have a problem or an issue with the new system.
Great. And the election information, you mentioned the website govotewv.com.
Correct.
So if they go there, they'll be able to look down through the drop-down menus and find what they want to look at and go on. Yeah. But there's a lot of other information on that website.
Sure, there sure is. And they can also reach it through the regular West Virginia Secretary of State website, wvsos.gov. Either one will get you into the system.
Very good, very good. We're only less than a month away from the start of the next session, and in terms of elections, I think January 13th is the opening for candidate filings.
That's correct.
So about a month away.
Exactly.
And right now they are pre-candidates, correct?
Yes.
Until they file on the 20th.
Correct. And by filing those pre-candidacy papers, that allows you to start gathering your money, collecting donations, making expenditures, and so forth. So
checking interest and the support and all that type of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that opening goes from the 13th of January to the 25th of January. And we will be open on the Saturday in between, as well as Saturday the 25th. The first Saturday is we're open till noon, and then on the 25th we're open till 11:59 p.m.
So that's about a 2-week window for candidates to get the official filings done.
It is, yes.
Okay. And then after that point, when people come to the site, they're going to see everybody who's filed.
That's right.
Okay, so all the mystery of who's going to run where will be over on January 25th.
That's correct.
Okay, great. Now your main office is in Charleston, but there are other locations around the state too, right?
We have 2 business hubs, one in Clarksburg and then one in Martinsburg. And so, and those are full service operations. So anything that you can do in the Charleston office, you should be able to do in either Clarksburg or Martinsburg. And we did that to get these throughout the state. There's so much activity going on, growth out in the Eastern Panhandle. That's why we opened up the one there. And then we are co-located with the auditor's office in Clarksburg on Main Street, right across the street from the tax department. So you should be able to park in one place and take care of business in all those government agencies.
I served as editor of the Journal in Martinsburg for a couple of years. And I know that was one of the complaints from people in the Eastern Panhandle. And I was born in the Northern Panhandle. I lived there for a lot of years. That was a complaint in that area. It was such a trip to Charleston if you had to do this. By having these offices and cutting that trip down, that's a real convenience. Plus the online. You can almost do everything online now.
You can, but nothing replaces that personal contact, and that's why we opened up that office It's at the train station there in Martinsburg. And there's been quite a bit of goodwill, I think, generated by opening that office because, again, so much activity does take place in the Eastern Panhandle, but it's a recognition that the government here in Charleston does recognize the significance of what's going on in the Eastern Panhandle. So we're just proud to have gotten that accomplished. And we've done it without extra money, and we've done it without increasing our personnel. We've, in fact, decreased the personnel in the West Virginia Secretary of State's office by 15%. So we're doing more with less. And that's the benefit of going digital and using the today's technology. It makes things easier for the customers, for the citizens of West Virginia. It makes it less costly. It makes it more transparent. And we're reducing the workload and the cost of running government.
And transparency has been a big thing, and we appreciate that. Again, this website makes it much easier for the media to search and for people to look at. And for our viewers, I want to make sure, Mr. Secretary, you can correct me on this if I'm wrong, but the primary election in West Virginia is May 12th, correct?
Yes, May 12th, and then November 3rd is the general.
In the general. And the last day to register to vote in West Virginia is April 21st.
And an important point on that primary, remember that is the general election for the judicial offices because those are nonpartisan. So the Supreme Court, Circuit Court, those are elected on in the May election. So it's very important for people. Don't just take a primary for granted or blow it off. Go vote because that's where the Supreme Court justices will be elected.
I didn't realize that. I knew they were nonpartisan. I didn't realize the May election was the key. Okay, and again, for you at home, the website's wvsos.gov. Go there to see the full website for the Secretary of State. And then on the govotewv.com is a shortcut into the election stuff. We encourage you to go look at the campaign finance reporting system and the listing of candidates and get involved. And as the Secretary says, please go vote. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.